Welcome back to my channel. So if you've been watching, you would have realized that I dropped my bike. So I found some really good looking handlebars from Iron and Resin Garage, and ideally I want the handlebars sitting a bit closer to me anyway, because obviously I don't have very long arms, so I have to sit closer to the tank and the seat gets a lot more uncomfortable as you move up. I also did consider Z bars. They look cool, but in saying that, I think that they're a little bit overkill. So I wanted something similar to the originals because I do like the style, but I just want them a little bit closer. The other thing that was really cool was I got some freebies. So got a really nice snapback, $20 discount off my next purchase, and some more stickers. I love stickers. And a cool stubby holder, which is coming in handy for this episode. So the handlebars that I got are the Bitwell High Tracker bars. You can get them in 3 different sizes. So you got the high, the mids and the lows. I'd say what's on there now is probably something like a mid or a low, but the high ones give me a little bit more rise.
So it's good to have a towel to cover your tank. Take off the throttle assembly on this side. It's the same Allen key for all of these. You also need a Phillips head screwdriver. Take off the clutch and the left mirror. Unclip the plastic clamp that holds the little tube going into the throttle assembly. Then undo the 4 bolts on top of the risers, and the bars will pop out. So these are the new handlebars. Do them up finger tight just to hold the bars up. Because these bars are higher, I need more reach from this cable. Now the switches and the clutch assembly. So I'm just trying to adjust the bars. I think they're pretty straight.
So plot twist, turns out my handlebars aren't actually bent.
When I had a good look this morning, the new ones had the same problem. And I should have realised this because the first thing I noticed after I dropped the bike was the dash was crooked, and it would pretty much be impossible to bend the bars where the dash sits.
Because I originally thought that maybe the riser was actually bent. So one way to tell was take them out and swap them over. If one was bent, the bar should actually bend back up the other way.
But all I had to do was undo the 4 bolts on top of the risers, pull out the bars, lay them to one side, and undo the bent riser. So the riser that I thought might be bent looked fine, so I just put it back in and did it up finger tight. Then I did the 4 bolts on top of the risers up finger tight as well. Then I moved the bars back a little. When I felt like they were at the right angle, I tightened up the top of the risers. I wanted them to be flush, so I tightened each side a bit at a time, starting on the side with the bigger gap. There's no knurling on these bars, so it's hard to tell if they're properly centered. You just got to kind of eyeball it.
But when I put the handlebar back in, I could see that it was straight. So
That one riser, it actually just needed to be reseated. Then I just
tightened back up the bolts and everything was straight again. So moral of the story is, before you go out and buy new handlebars, check that it's not the risers. And
once you take off the bars, lay them down on a flat surface, hold the middle of the bars, and when you move them back and forth, both ends should touch at the same time. So essentially they should sit flat on these 3 points. These are actually the Bitwell bars, but the original bars also passed this test. I'll link to the video by Del Boy's Garage that showed me how to do this in the description. Another problem I ran into is I noticed the throttle was sticking. Now if you looked really closely, you can see that when I took off the original bars, there is a small hole for the throttle assembly to lock it into. So I just needed to drill a hole in them, but I was a bit nervous, and when you're doing something like this, everything has to be perfect.
I was going to put them on. I tried to start and take off the grip, but I didn't want to risk wrecking it. On all the forums, everyone was saying that the Rebel grip is really hard to get off. Given that they're relatively cheap, I'm just going to wait to get some new ones in and do it all at once. I might even look at getting some heated grips or just some novelty kind of grips, but I want to do some more research first because I have read that heated grips are a lot thicker, which obviously I don't want given I've got small hands. So I really just want to ride. So I thought I'll put the old bars back on until I at least order some new grips. Thanks for watching.